William Ruto's nominees to cabinet fought hard to defend their nominations, track records and integrity as the vetting exercise entered day 2. MPs pulled back the curtains to query the track record of some of the nominees as they questioned their commitment to service. Former CBK Governor Professor Ndung'u, making a comeback into public service, had to deflect claims of overseeing the collapse of banks during his tenure. And as Sam Ogina now reports, the Treasury nominee denied masterminding the going into receivership of some Kenyan banks during his tenure.
Good morning, Professor Kithure Kindiki.
First to face the vetting panel was the Interior Docket nominee, Professor Kithure Kindiki. The former Tharaka Nithi senator said he was back from the sabbatical he took in the run-up to the general election.
There were comments that you made publicly, and one of them was actually an implication that you are going to go on some kind of sabbatical leave. But we can see you're already actively involved now in service to the nation. Have you recovered from that shock?
I have since reviewed that position after persuasion by my party. My party persuaded me.
Nominated to the powerful Interior Docket, dogged with cases of officers taking their own lives and their colleagues, Kindiki vowed to prioritize improvement of police welfare.
What are your views to transform this and to avoid the future problems of police shooting themselves and their colleagues?
That these incidents are caused by the low morale and also the low remuneration and poor working conditions of police officers vis-a-vis the risks that they undertake in the service of the nation.
To tackle runaway crime, the Interior nominee warned that there will be no sacred cows in security operations, albeit within the confines of the law and respect to human rights.
Even if a politician is committing a crime, he's a criminal. A lawyer committing a crime is a criminal. A doctor committing a crime is a criminal. And they belong to no ethnicity.
Former CBK Governor Professor Ndung'u was faced with allegations of colluding with the banks to devalue the shilling, irregularly selling off the Grand Regency Hotel, and controversially entering into 1.2 billion shillings printing tender with Delarue.
2011, the year 2011, when you were the CBK Governor, Professor Ndung'u, Parliament investigated you for collusion with commercial banks to weaken the Kenya shilling, which became the worst performing currency in the world. Then
every single mega project that you undertook was dogged by matters of corruption. He's talked about the issue of the shillings 1.2 billion security tender. I'm sure you know about that. And the other one was what? Yes. And the Imperial Bank collapse.
If you look at what you've quoted, family home, farm with house, holiday home, basically those are homes. A total, whether it's a family home, holiday home, leisure home, they are homes. The total is 400 million. Somebody will ask, before even going to the rest, out of 941, 400 goes to homes. Is this the advice you are going to give to Kenyans, that half of your health is a home?
I have been a victim of abuse of the criminal justice system. For example, the procurement that has been mentioned. The whole idea was to get Njuguna Ndung'u out of the central bank. How do you do it? That's why, even if you go to the records, you will just be embarrassed, the kind of facts.
Energy Cabinet Secretary nominee Davis Chirchir came head-on with the ghosts of Chicken Gate scandal that forced him out of the electoral agency IEBC and the forced resignation from the very ministry during President Uhuru Kenyatta's tenure over graft charges.
Executives of Smith and Usman were eventually tried, convicted, and indeed jailed in the UK. Two of them, a man and his son, for having bribed the interim electoral commission officials with 50 million Kenya shillings. So the bribers were convicted and jailed. Those who were bribed have to date remained scot-free, if you may ask me.
High cost of power and fuel in the country made for fodder for Chirchir's grilling as MPs pushed for the reformation of Kenya Power.
Almost every day, bar blackouts. There are many times like that, Honorable Chair, in this country. But I think Apengure receives one of the uncleanest power in the whole world. You cannot even predict to do anything, Chair.
Actually, the story of the energy sector starts and ends with Kenya Power and Lightning. In fact, nowadays in Kenya, there's a famous quote, kwamba when it rains, saile sisi tunatoa nguo, Kenya Power pia inaanua wire.
They sell a commodity that you and I cannot do without. When you default, they come and disconnect you on the pole, literally extorting your payback and reconnection. Why are they having financial difficulties?
Because when you are a monopoly, and like I said in one of my term papers, we need to look at when the market is locked for you, you tend to be complacent.
Former Gatundu South MP Moses Kuria was grilled over his temperament. Kuria is nominated to the position of Trade and Industrialization docket.
His comments, his on Twitter, on Facebook, his temperament has actually been highly publicized.
What assurance can you give Kenyans in live television that you mean well for the cohesion of the country?
I am mandatory in some quarters, but those quarters are mostly within social media and elite circles. If you go to most corners of this country, they know me as a peace-loving Kenyan who is committed to cohesion and who has worked a lot to bring people together. As I can say from some of the region where someone like Opio and I come from, a place like Kondele, I am the second most popular person after Raila Odinga.
The vetting process enters day 3 on Wednesday. Sam Ogina, Citizen TV, Nairobi.